Okay, welcome to another lore video, and whether the Kingfisher was sabotaged or not, and regardless of what the other superpowers, alliances and corporations may be saying they're doing, may be thinking they're doing, a lot of that seems to be irrelevant now because it is war. It is war with the Thargoids. Taranis, the name given to the first of the Stargoids to be spotted, has now arrived and appeared to have turned into some kind of massive caustic maelstrom, which resembles a small Lagrange cloud for any of you who've ever been to one of those. It's very caustic, it's very damaging, and it is affecting all of the systems around it. So now the way the Thargoids are attacking and the way AX combat and rescues and supplies, all of that has been completely changed by update 14. So let's take a look at some of the ways in which that has changed and try and catch up a bit on some of the story as well. So after update 14 installed, starting up the game gave you this video. If you've seen this video already, as usual, I've chaptered everything so you can just skip it or watch it if you haven't seen it yet. But here it is for those of you who haven't. All of the Stargoids have names now. Taranis, Legong, Indra, Thor, Rajin, Oya, Hadad, and Kohihoch. And all of them refer to thunder and lightning gods from various cultures and mythologies. Legong and Indra have joined Taranis and become Maelstroms as of Thursday morning's update, and systems around them are already affected. Let's take a look at Taranis. I'm in the system, I'm in free space. And yeah, there we go, we've got the same effect as in HIP 22460. Guardian modules degrading. I brought a shard cannon with me just to see if it would degrade if I stayed in the system, and the answer to that is yes. And we got the glitchy control panel again, just like in HIP 22460. Yeah, look at that, that's dying. And it's gone. It's not that I was going to use it anyway. Shard cannon rendered inoperable. Right, so what do we got here? Aha. Yep, and they're dropping in, and my guess is they're not going to be friendly. Okay, so this is one of the things that Burr was talking about. The Maelstrom. Whoa! What? Oh wow! The Thargoids interdicting me.
How compromised?
Thargoid interdiction. They can now interdict you in Super Cruise. Oh wow. Oh, this is not good.
It's great.
Shift drive charging. 4, 3, 2.
At least I can outrun it at the moment.
Engage.
Right, now, this...
Warning, hazardous environment.
Yeah, hazardous environment. So this is the Maelstrom. Maelstrom Taranis. Yeah, and Super Cruise assist to it. Alright. This was mentioned in Burr's advance video that got released around about 5 o'clock when we thought the update was going to come out, but then it got delayed a further 1.5 hours. But by that time the video was there. This is a Maelstrom, and I have no idea what that is, apart from it's supposed to be a massive caustic green corrosive cloud, which is supposed to have something at the center of it, but it doesn't seem like we'll be able to get to the center of it at that point. It made mention of that not going to be possible for a while. We'll have to do some kind of arms race or something to maybe develop the technology necessary to penetrate the heart of these Maelstroms and find out exactly what they are. But each of the Stargoids is going to leave one of these, or create one of these, or be connected to one of these in some way. We can at least go and have a look at it. The system now considered completely under Thargoid control. Oh, and here we go as we get closer to it. Wow, just a big green cloud. And that is looking very horrible and angry. Like a lightning Lagrange cloud. Now apparently oh, and the signal's constantly moving, like when you zoom in on a surface site, and it glitches and moves a few times before you finally... Wow. Apparently as you progress further into this thing, start taking caustic damage, and it won't actually be possible to get to the center of the cloud.
Caustic damage detected.
Yeah.
Taking damage.
And there we are. These look like some kind of crystal. Can I get close to one to scan it with the composition scanner? Or is this an actual Thargoid? Yeah, xenological discovery made. Thargoid caustic generator. Oh, wow, look at that. Caustic generator, eh? Okay.
Engine
Ouch.
movement. Warning, shield breach attack. Thrusters online.
Oof. Might be time to leave. Oh. Actually, I'm gonna have to repair myself.
Programming limit drone. Taking damage. Caustic substance neutralized. Decontamination limpet successful. Frameshift drive charging.
Wow.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage. Warning, hazardous environment.
The caustic generators blow up like proximity mines, as you just saw there. They can be shot, and new materials can be collected from them. You can also get new data for entering the cloud and having certain things happen to you in it. As the materials are new, it's led to speculation that they will be used in some future technology. The centre of the cloud keeps moving, like when you're trying to target a planetary point of interest and it keeps moving until you finally zero into it, except you don't zero into it, it doesn't let you. You can also be knocked back by an energy wave which throws you away, and again is another way of stopping you from getting to the centre of the Maelstrom. And it also risks you being blown into the generators, which will then explode and damage you again, and all the time you're in the cloud you're taking caustic damage. As you also saw there, the Thargoids now have the ability to interdict you in supercruise. Even scouts can do this. And the interdictions seem to be almost impossible to resist. So, the best tactic is to submit to it, zero throttle, and then when you fall into normal space, just boost and keep boosting until you can go into supercruise again. Any ship that can perma-boost and has a boost speed of about 400 meters per second or more will be able to get away, so stay calm and keep boosting unless you want to fight them, and you will escape. Hyperdictions and interdictions can happen in any of the systems affected and are always hostile, so if you can't fight them, make sure you can boost away. These are not like any previous attack. They're not like where stations were hit and when the incursion was defeated, then the Thargoids would retreat, the stations would go into repair, and there may or may not be another attack for weeks or even months. Nor is it like the year when they attacked stations every week, but with attacks that were usually defeated by the weekend, but which still left Operation Ida with a 6-month backlog of repairs to do. No, these attacks are completely different to anything that has ever gone before. They're not hit and run, they're not attack and retreat. These are all about establishing a permanent military presence in the bubble. The Maelstroms can be thought of as establishing beachheads from which the Thargoids will destroy and occupy neighbouring systems. Thargoids are attacking outposts and ground ports instead of the usual large starports. If the large starports do get attacked, we'll see what may have changed there. And this means that for the first time, the Thargoids can be attacking a port while you're doing rescues or delivering supplies. The rescue ships are no longer in the system being attacked, and they can be anywhere up to around 200 light years or so away. All evacuations from one system will be to the same rescue ship though, as before, so you can still stack missions from one system without worrying about going to different destinations. Where there are multiple ports still active in a system, you can do missions from any station there, not just the ports on fire. As long as you can dock quickly at a port that is under attack, you can get in with minimal damage. Any caustic damage will be removed when you touch down, and the ground bases and outposts will automatically pull your ship into the hangar. If you're out of sight of the Thargoids while you're trying to land, popping a heatsink can sometimes help you get down without being seen or focused on, but your best and most useful weapon is speed. The mission board and passenger board have also seen a few changes. On the mission board, there are no more missions for escape pods and black boxes and all the things we used to pick up. Instead, there are two main mission types apart from the Thargoid missions: deliveries and evacuating the wounded. The evacuate the wounded missions are normally small amounts of people, and they want cargo bays for that instead of passenger bays. On the passenger board, missions have higher numbers of passengers per mission. Instead of being from 2 to 24 passengers as they used to be, they're now from about 12 to a maximum of 80 passengers per mission. As the passengers have to be taken further away, these missions are also more highly paid. An 80 passenger mission can pay you from 9 to 11 million just for that mission alone. So these changes have, for the moment, rendered our old style engineered rescue ships obsolete. On the positive side, to perform rescues now nothing special is needed, so anyone should be able to do it without custom building a ship for it or any special engineering. Any ship that can carry passengers and cargo with the ability to travel up to around 200 light years is ideal, because a fuel scoop will take up space that you could use for passengers or cargo. Early testing by the squad has shown that the Python and the Phantom are both ideal medium ships for outposts and anywhere else with only medium pads, with the Anaconda looking to be the best choice for large pads and stations. I found a Python with a passenger capacity of 80 and about the same in cargo space allowed me to take one 80 passenger mission and a handful of evacuate the wounded missions to the same rescue ship in one go for a pretty decent turnaround. You're not hanging around to fight, so it doesn't need to be a shield or a hull tank. Speed and capacity are more important to get yourself and your passengers to safety. Some people are using cutters for the large pads, but I personally think the Conda, although it carries less than the cutter, will be faster in the long run because it can deliver about 2/3 of the passengers but with fewer jumps, and that speed of delivery will be more of a factor over a long period of time than pure capacity. I haven't had too many shutdowns, but a field neutralizer is worth having just in case, and you can now put the shutdown field neutralizer on a button with this update, so I would take that as a hint and take one with you. So in the galaxy map we now have a new tab, Thargoid War Information. And here you can see the 3 Maelstroms that have so far arrived, where they are, and next to them how many systems they affect. The first one to arrive is actually Maelstrom 3 according to this, and there are 5 new system states to take account of: Thargoid Alert, Thargoid Invasion, Thargoid Controlled, Thargoid Maelstrom, and Post-Thargoid Recovery. And so rather than being the binary on-off system that we had before, you know, a system is either getting attacked or it isn't, a station either needs repair or it doesn't, deliveries either need doing or they don't, it's a lot more gradual than that, as it seems to shift between these states. Now if I go to one of these systems, there is another Thargoid tab on the right giving me information about it, and this is a Maelstrom obviously. Invaded systems 9, controlled systems 20 as a result of this Maelstrom. If I then go to a station like this, for a system like this for example, the station is damaged, ports have been abandoned and Thargoids are attacking, come down to the Thargoid War, and these are the activities that you can do to advance it to the next state, or by not doing anything, allow it to deteriorate into the opposite next state. So, changing these states over time and prevention being better than cure are very much the messages here. It is better to not let a system fall into Thargoid control in the first place than to try and recover it once it has. So here there is still work that can be done to save this place. These three systems, HIP 23716, Imiet and Matshiru, were prioritised by AXI, by ourselves at the Post-Disaster Evacuation Service, and in Operation Ida, and we all had our own reasons and our own rationales, but one thing we all shared was the fact that these three are the closest to their respective rescue ships, and if we're going to evaluate these new mechanics as fast as possible, then cutting down on travel time is a part of that. HIP 23716 has had a phenomenal effort put into it by AXI, IDA, Hutton Orbital, various other groups. It's where most people are going. We're also sending anybody there who doesn't want to do an attacked port, because it's got a big large station that is unattacked, which you can practice doing rescues in. So if you're new and you haven't done a lot of engineering, or you haven't got a lot of money, or you just don't feel confident to go and try and rescue from a port that's been attacked, there are unattacked ports, including a big station here in HIP 23716. Imiet as well. There's been a little bit of progress on that. You can see the purple bar there, and of course much more progress here because there's been just so many more numbers thrown at it. And Matshiru here, where we have actually made a little bit of progress, but it almost didn't happen because people saw that active ports remaining was 0, didn't look any further, and assumed that no more could be done. But if you look closely, it's still human controlled, which means there's still something that can be done here, and these activities are still here, showing that they still will make a difference. When the system went down to 0 active ports, a significant change happened in the station itself. It stopped taking in deliveries, and the number of evacuate wounded missions increased, and also the number of people per mission increased. So the number of wounded are increasing. The passenger board stayed exactly the same, with the same passenger missions that are on all the other passenger boards. So as this is the only bit that's changed, logic would dictate that if we're going to affect these new states, then we affect the bits that have changed first. So as there's an increase in wounded that need evacuating, it seems logical that by focusing on that, we will then make enough space in the station for it to take on repairs again, for it to take on supplies again to repair it with. And slowly but surely we can still pull this system out of the brink and stop it falling under Thargoid control. And if we go to the galaxy map, we can see from the Thargoid War tab that we actually have made a little bit of progress by focusing on evacuating the wounded from Matshiru. But it is good to know that although the progress isn't quite as quick in Matshiru, it's not just throwing numbers at a system that makes a difference. A targeted strike by a smaller group can also turn the tide of the war in one system or another. So the Thargoid war map on the left panel for the general galaxy and on the right hand panel for any individual system is now your first port of call Whenever you want to see what's going on with the war, whenever you want to see what needs doing in any system, whenever you're thinking about how you might want to contribute, you start here with these two menus and looking at the things that need to be done. And we are now against, from the way that Burrs described it, from the information that was given to him in advance by FDev, it looks like we are against a kind of separate BGS system, a background Goid system, if you like, and it's a dedicated war machine that we are fighting. So it is directly reacting to everything that we do. And overall, I have to say that I like these changes, you know, because everything that you do makes a difference. There's no question about, oh, you know, how much difference does fighting them make? How much difference do deliveries make? How much difference do rescues make? It all helps. As long as it says that job can be done there, all of it. Delivering supplies, destroying craft, supporting human forces in conflict zones, assisting evacuation efforts and completing missions, all of those are valid ways to advance this system towards post-Thargoid recovery and away from being Thargoid controlled. Another hint that we got from the advance information given to Burr by FDev, and which Burr, being the nice bloke he is, shared with us, is that doing stuff like rescues and repairs in a Thargoid alert system is considered too premature, and it will not be given the same weight as doing them in systems under attack. So while many of these new states have yet to happen, and until they do happen, we won't know all the ins and outs of how exactly it works, we don't need to overthink it either, because what you would logically expect to happen is pretty much what will happen. And the system reacts directly to what we do, so you won't need the same level of in-depth knowledge as you would when doing something like regular BGS work. It will always be relatively obvious what needs doing and where. The Thargoid alert systems have their own special area of interest though, because that is where you will find a new Thargoid in the game, the Orthrus. Now the Orthrus appears in systems under Thargoid alert in a threat level 4 non-human signal source. It appears from observation by players to be some kind of reconnaissance craft, and it follows an established pattern of behaviour. When you drop into the signal source, there'll be a probe in there. About 10 seconds or so later, the Orthrus will arrive and activate its shields. It will approach the probe and it will scan it. And then it will move away slowly. And then it will open a portal and jump away. If it sees you, it might fire its EMP weapon at you while it calls in reinforcements. The Orthrus EMP will trash Guardian modules. So it seems that what happens is that a probe is dropped into a system that the Thargoids are planning to invade, and then the job of the Orthrus is to grab the information from that probe, presumably after it's gathered data on the system, and take that information back to the equivalent of Thargoid High Command. So players have decided that therefore destroying these probes might be a way of stopping a system invasion in the first place by denying the enemy the reconnaissance data they gather first, if that's what they're doing. Like a lot of ideas, this is a hypothesis that appears to fit the facts, and this is a new situation, so we're all taking our best guess until something is confirmed by testing and repetition and observation, or we get more information from FDev. But it's an interesting idea. A new type of Thargoid, a new type of ship, unusual behaviour that needs investigating. Yeah, brilliant. There's going to be so much to learn in this update. So much that we've probably only even just scratched the surface of. FDev have firmly put the ball in our court and given us a situation with this Thargoid war machine to outmaneuver. They've given us this situation where whatever happens next, whether the war escalates, whether we manage to stop it before it gets too bad, or whatever else happens, what happens next will be absolutely, utterly, and completely down to us. Thanks for watching.